Welcome to this week's installment of the 2-Minute Drill. Back with us is head coach Kevin Loney. Kevin, we just had homecoming weekend. Phenomenal festivities overall. Didn't come out on the right end of the score, though.
No. Anytime you play against a team as talented as Salve, you're going to have your hands full. Obviously, we had some kids who were banged up that we needed to have to give us a chance, and we didn't have those guys. But I thought that the kids who came in, who stepped in to play for those guys, did a pretty good job. The little things catch up to you. If Salve didn't need any help beating you. They're going to go out there and execute and do what they got to do, and we have to take care of our piece of it as well.
You touch on not beating yourself. It's a 14-0 game in the second half. 2 mistakes on your part really put the game sort of out of reach at halftime.
Not getting lined up properly, and then not being able to attack down there on the goal line, and then the very next series, jumping off sides and giving free play. Those are like just high school things that we don't do in practice, so you can't do it on game day either. It's just one momentary lapse, and the margin for error is pretty thin. And then the big key I think is the hidden yardage. We only had 8 penalties. They were penalized. I think they had 16.
They had 16 penalties.
But if you look at the yardage that we ended up losing on all those penalties in terms of completed plays, on top of giving them a safety, that's probably about 200 yards total offense against the 18th ranked defense in the country that you give away because of a mistake here, a mistake there. And it wasn't like they were like ticky-tack calls. They were legitimate calls. Like they were holding. It was a illegal block below the waist. Those things you just can't do. We took a delay of game on a fake punt. Well, we got tackled for like a 2-yard loss, for 2 yards short of the deal. Well, that extra 5 yards counts. It matters. And so I think it's important for our guys to understand that, and we've talked about that. I think we're ready to get on to the next one.
You touch on the 18th ranked defense in the country with Salve. You had 2 trips into the red zone. You came away with no points, and you know this better than anybody. Against a team as strong as Salve Regina, you can't win games when you get into those red zones. You have to put points on the board.
Got to put points on the board. Unfortunately, we were too far away in certain situations to kick the field goal, and by the time we were really close, it was, points have been great, but I want to see if we can go punch one in against those guys. We've done it the last couple of years, and seeing what we were doing down there, I thought, especially when we were down like inside the 10-yard line, I thought we were going to go get a touchdown, which would be great for our kids and for our psyche, and hopefully we can continue to build on the explosion that we had offensively. Quaylon Respis is a pretty special player. We all know that, and I'm sure the league knows it as they watch the film. And that's all I've heard from all the coaches in the conference is, how do you stop this guy? So we've got to hopefully now finish it off.
Sure. Now, coming to town this weekend is an Endicott team that really, with Salve, has been on top of the conference the last couple of years. What have you seen on film from them? What do you need to do to come out with a victory? Typical
Endicott. They're big, they're physical, they're strong, they're athletic. Drew Frenette's their quarterback. He's outstanding. He's got a big arm. Phenomenal receivers. They're pretty young at receiver, believe it or not, but those kids have made some spectacular catches. I think the Curry defensive backs are still having nightmares watching them on film. We got a really good running back, Spencer Walsh, a really good football player. And on defense, Marcel Cooper's probably the best D lineman in the conference. He's on par with James Muirhead from Framingham State and Kevin Egan of Endicott and Hayden Stanton from Salve Regina. So the kid's a big, tough, physical kid. We've got to be able to hopefully handle him, which would be tough to do because he's a nose guard. And then they've got some phenomenal players in secondary and some really good linebackers. So we've got a lot of work to do. And then, as if they don't have everything, they have the best kicker in the country, I think. All divisions. Dylan Rush is he's going to play on Sundays. He's a phenomenal weapon for those guys once they cross the 50-yard line. So we'll have our hands full, but it should be a fun atmosphere. It should be a fun game for our kids, and hopefully we have a great week of practice.
Lastly, we're touching on the defense of Endicott. One area your team seemed to struggle on Saturday was giving Quaylon protection. He creates a lot of plays with his legs, didn't have a ton of time to throw the ball. What can you work on in practice this week to help set up those game situations to give him some time?
A lot of it's communication, and then a lot of it, too, becomes our receivers getting out of their breaks a little quicker. That's going to get them open, or get them, because as you go against really good defenses, they're not good because they give up plays and give up yardage. They're good because they make really hard throws. They force you to make really hard throws. And so for our guys, it's attention detail on our routes, and then up front it's communication. It's our backs, make sure they fit in the right guy, so on and so forth. So and then being able to see it and get rid of the ball quickly. And then if it's not there, do what he does. Sometimes I feel like Mac Brown back when he had Vince Young. Spread everybody out, hope they cover him, hope they cover everybody, and let's see what happens. But we haven't had that yet. We'll try.
Great. Thanks, Coach Loney, for taking the time to sit down with us. Fans, the game begins at 1 o'clock this Saturday at Vendetti Field. You can also follow along on nicholsathletics.com.